This evening I went to the Helena City Symphony Under the Stars, and it's a outdoor concert that happens once a year at Carroll College, the university in town. People will reserve their spot on the grass and put their little blankets out where they can sit while they listen to the music in the evening. And they reserve their spot by weighing down their blanket in the grass with canned goods. And all of those cans of food are then picked up later on and throughout the evening and donated to the local food bank. So I was out volunteering with the local food bank to pick up all of those hundreds or thousands rather of cans that were donated by all of the attendees of the summer symphony in the park. And it was also a conveniently enjoyable event because it was an opportunity to participate in the concert itself and watch the event unfold and listen to some nice music. And, I can't think of a better way to spend a summer evening other than that, surrounded by people and enjoying the ambience of it all. I thought it's interesting how when you look at people, it's fun to take videos and photographs of folks going about their business, doing their things. You see people who are young and you see children who are running around having a good time. And you see old people maybe too who are smiling and enjoying the evening. And I think it's interesting and honorable, really, how we as human beings manage to have such short lives and such uncertain lives, and yet we still manage to find it in ourselves to do things that are acts of kindness, whether it be something like being there to donate some 17,000 pounds of food to neighbors in need, or maybe being willing to go volunteer as part of your business organization to give your time in a generous way, or just finding the capacity to see joy and beauty in the world, even though there's so much uncertainty and inevitably the fact that we only have a temporary period of time to participate in our society. We do so many amazing things, creating amazing products and finding ways to bring joy into the lives of others. And then I think about all of the negative things that get brought up and talked about and focused on. It's so easy to throw stones at people and to say, this person is a bad person, or they're not good enough, or, maybe we should do something to punish people for their flaws. And yet, when you look at all of these people and you realize that you're kind of, by just taking a picture or a video or telling their story in some way, you're immortalizing them, because there's a very good probability that we are going to all be dead and gone. And this video that I'm making today quite possibly will be somewhere on the internet long after I'm no longer even alive. And all of these people who you see in this video going about their business, packaging food or collecting cans or sitting in the grass enjoying a summer evening in their youth, or whatever age they are. They will all go their way, and there will come a time when they are no more. But if we're blessed and privileged and lucky, we will be able, not we as in you or I necessarily, but we as a human species will be able to look back on these moments that we share and save and savor, and we'll be able to see the people that were there before, and we'll be able to honor them with their memory. And as times change and people evolve, there's so much that is uncertain and strange. For example, with artificial intelligence and technology front and center these days, this is the first generation probably that will have a chance to see something similar to a singularity sort of event where people's consciousness goes into the cloud and some vestige of what it means to be human manages to outlast human existence itself. Maybe a person doesn't live forever, but a chatbot or a algorithm or something lives on in a way that perpetuates the work that one person has done. So even if we're not able to really physically live forever, we now have an ability more than ever before to do things which will leave an indelible mark on the future. You can just be an ordinary person and you could make a YouTube video and you could talk about life, and that could be something that speaks into future generations and gives others an opportunity for inspiration or to experience love or to gain perspective. And I think all of that is such a privilege and a stewardship opportunity for us to celebrate all of those things that make us human and find a way to share them. And I also think optimism is such an important thing, because we can really get lost in the weeds of thinking that, there's not really any good left in the world, or everything's kind of, become a crap show, if you will. And you can get lost in all of the fads and the clickbait and the rage bait and the brain rot and all of the stuff that's going around that makes us think the world is constantly in a place which is, filled with negativity and maybe evil even. And yet there is good in the world all the time. There are people who serve when they don't have to. There are people who are generous with their lives and their time when they could just think of themselves. And I was also thinking today, it was a thing I'd volunteered to do, to go and be part of this event, to do some volunteering and attend this concert. And you would think that it's a fun thing, but it also was something where a part of me was thinking, I don't know if I really feel like doing that necessarily. And so I went down there, and then as the evening wore on, of course, I thought it was a pretty enjoyable and pleasant time. I really enjoyed the privilege of being able to be there and be part of it. And I was thinking about how in life it's so easy oftentimes to get into kind of a funk where you don't want to do something, or maybe you think it's just not going to be a particularly fun experience, or maybe you feel a little bit awkward in some cases. Like maybe for me, it's awkward to, go and just kind of hang around with people when I'm by myself, really. And I don't know anyone particularly. And, like in this particular case, there's also that added level of awkwardness in a way, because there was the announcement last week that my job was eliminated, and so now I'm leaving town, and it's kind of that melancholy and weird thing where I'm not really part of the group. Even though I'm there, I'm not really part of the group anymore. And there's those feelings of, you know, being maybe invisible, or just feeling like you're in a space, but it's not really your space. And there's people who are having a great time, and they're enjoying the experience, and they're there with their loved ones and their significant others and their children and all of that. And, you know, for me, it's just, it feels empty, because, you know, I think about 5 years ago, I came out to Montana, and I had a wife, and I had the hope that I could have a family, and I had the aspiration to make Montana that exciting new place that would be fresh and exciting and filled with opportunity. And then 5 years later, you know, here I am, and I don't have a wife, and I don't really even have a job, and I don't really have the social connections anymore. For the greater part, the people who used to be friends 5 years ago are gone, and the folks who would have, you know, been people I might have done something with are pretty much gone. And it's not to say that I'm completely isolated and there's no one I could ever reach out to or anything. And I think I have a lot of optimism about the future too. But in terms of this moment, it's definitely a bittersweet kind of a feeling to kind of feel like it's the end of something. It's the final page in a chapter that was probably a really good chapter in my life, in the sense that it gave me an opportunity to learn about myself. It gave me an opportunity to grow in many ways. It gave me an opportunity to contemplate life in a way that I hadn't ever really thought of it before. But it also is a humbling experience, and it's kind of like looking at the Earth from space, or seeing the world from the perspective of not being on the Earth anymore. You know, it's this weird, crazy shift in perspective that just, it's amazing, and it's humbling, and it's also sad too, because you see other people that are maybe able to enjoy a place, and it becomes apparent that it's not really about the place. You know, there's some things that are like that, because like, it's hard. I can't buy a house here in Montana because I just couldn't afford it, because you can't find one for less than $400,000 or $500,000. And in places like Arkansas, I could probably find one for, you know, $250,000 or something like that. So there's things that are practical things to consider, but beyond that, there's the fact that for some people, this is a place of hope. It's a place that's home. It's a place where family is. It's a place that feels wonderful in its own way. And then maybe for me, it's more like a place that's filled with ghosts and memories and reminders of all of the things that happened that shouldn't have, or all the things I hoped would happen that didn't. So as I prepare to leave, it's not really so much a thing where it's a problem with the place. It's really a personal thing. It's a thing I have to work through, because, you know, I look at the crowds of people out there enjoying their time and going about their life and loving each other and just absorbing all of it. And I think, you know, this really is a beautiful town, and it's a beautiful community, and there's a lot of amazing things about Helena, Montana, and the 5 years that I was privileged to call it home. It's just, it's not really home for me. It's one step in an adventure that is not supposed to end here. And maybe on some level I envy the people who have found a place that they call home. And I do kind of wish that it could have been a place that I could call home, because it really is a beautiful place. A place that's kind of far off the beaten path in its own way. A forgotten part of the country. It's something that maybe is still in some ways what America always used to try to be, a place of hope and opportunity. And, you know, it is kind of a poetic thing, I guess, to be able to be part of it. But that's that. It's a nice concert. And, you know, that's the end of another day and the beginning of a new chapter, hopefully, for me. In any case, till next time, thanks so much for watching.